Hi everyone, my name is Brittany of BrittanyJJones.com. Today I'm going to be demonstrating how to do a clean yoke finish. For the pattern, I'm going to be using the front, back, and yoke pattern pieces from Simplicity 8753. Let's go ahead and get started. Again, I'm using Simplicity 8753. I'm using the front, back, and the yoke pattern pieces. For the yoke, you should have cut out two. One would be for the yoke, the other is the yoke facing. I'm going to begin with the back and the yoke. I'm going to put one of the facings to the side here. And with right sides facing, I am going to pin and match up my notches. Okay, and now that we have it pinned, before we go to the sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead and grab my yoke facing and I'm going to pin that on as well. For the yoke facing, I'm going to lay it down like so, and I want the right side of the yoke facing to go to the wrong side of the back. And so it will look like this. We're basically sandwiching in our back pattern piece between the yoke and the yoke facing. So again, with the yoke facing right sides up, I'm going to take the wrong side of my back and lay it down like so. I'm going to match up those same notches and pin in place as well. Okay, and now that we have it pinned, we can go to the sewing machine and we're going to stitch across all layers at a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Let's go ahead and stitch it in place now. Now that we have the seam stitched, we can go ahead and trim. Now that we have it trimmed, we can go ahead and press. We're going to press up the yoke and the yoke facing. Let's go ahead and press them up now. Now that we have the yokes pressed, I'm going to push down the yoke facing so that it's out of the way. So as you can see, the yoke facing, I just pushed it down here. So only the yoke is at the top now. So now with right sides facing, I'm going to go ahead and lay my fronts to the back along the shoulder seam, and we're going to pin and stitch at a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Again, make sure that your yoke facing is down and out of the way. Okay, now that we have our shoulder seams pinned, before we go to the sewing machine, I am just going to start rolling up my front and back to create something like a little burrito. So again, shoulder seams are pinned. I'm just gonna start rolling up the shirt. I have the front and backs together, and as you roll up, you start to see the yoke facing here that we pushed down earlier. I'm gonna take the yoke facing here, bring it over to the shoulder seams. We can match up our notches, and we can pin the yoke facing in place as well. Once you have everything pinned, now we can go to the sewing machine and we can stitch at a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance through all layers. Again, just make sure that you keep the yoke facing down while you're rolling up, and then pull the yoke over, match up the shoulder seams, and pin in place. Let's go ahead and stitch it now. Now that you have your shoulder seams sewn, we can go ahead and trim. Now that we have it trimmed, let's go ahead and reach through along one of our armholes and just start to pull out the front and the back. Once you have everything turned right side out, this is what the shoulder seam looks like on the outside of your garment, and this is what it looks like along the inside of your garment. You have a really nice clean finish up here along the shoulder seams, and we did not have to do any slip stitching. So now you can go ahead and give it one final press. And if your pattern that you're working on calls for top stitching, you can do top stitching right along your yoke seams here. Just do top stitching right along the yoke, not on the front or the back. Do your top stitching along the yoke. So now go ahead and give it one final press. Then you can baste your raw edges together, and you can move on with the next step to sewing your garment. Well, that is all for this demo, and I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. And if you would like to see more sewing tutorials, be sure to check out simplicity.com. Until next time, blessings everyone. Bye.